gorgeous thing is a Vespa 150 GS VS5. It was in the 50s, probably the ultimate Vespa. This is Matt's GS that I've been testing for a while with prototypes of the new SIP GS150 kit. So I'll show you what's in there. Basically, it's all standard apart from the kit, and we've almost doubled the horsepower. So the kit is now aluminium. It's got a clamp-on style exhaust, and the exhaust is a SIP Road 3. The carburetor standard, the airbox is standard, the air hose is standard, and that's really important because the choke operates by closing this air inlet. So if you're to remove the airbox system, then basically you lose your choke unless you replace it with some other complicated thing. This upgrade turns the GS into the kind of sporty scooter that it ought to be. When we've tested it on the dyno, it's very similar to a standard 125 T5 from the 80s, a little bit revvy. Still only a 150, still a piston ported, but it's an aluminium Nickel lined kit. Bolts straight on, it fits a standard carb. These bikes were sporty in the mid 50s, remember. It might look like a more modern thing, it was way ahead of its time in terms of styling, but they're really 50 mile an hour bikes, and hopefully with this kit we'd have picked up a bit of performance. So we'll give it a start and see how we go. What SIP have done is on this version of the kit they've lowered the port timing. It was a bit extreme before. It's on something like 175. It's now down to 166 exhaust port timing. So the engine still wants to rev. It's not slow by any stretch of the imagination. A typical GS problem was that they used to seize up. So if you're stuck with an aluminium, stuck with a cast iron barrel, and you want to go a bit quicker and actually use it on the road, having a little bit of extra power and having something that cools a bit better, not going to do you any harm at all. So you see what I mean about it revving? The original GS was nothing like that, so it's such a nice bike this, in really lovely nick, so I don't want to go too mad with it. But equally, need to get it going. 58, 59. Basically, I found that the 59.4, the original speedo's spot on, really accurate. Interesting to know. What I want from this bike is I don't want to turn it into a race bike. I don't want to turn it into any sort of rocket ship. If I'm a GS owner, what I want is reliability and a bit more power without it being extreme. So something that's just bolt on like this with a different exhaust maybe. It's perfect. 50 mile an hour, and now we're climbing 51. It's still getting faster. The hill gets a bit steeper further on. 52. Climbing this hill with gusto. Here's the steep bit. 50. It's going to do it easily in fourth, isn't it? With a smaller main jet, no problem. 43, easy. I've had to back off because I'm catching the traffic. So that's a ton better than it used to be. To get that as a bolt on, with literally all it's needed is an ignition timing change, a main jet change, and a different exhaust. Everything else is stock. I think Matt's engine has got an upgraded crank with a needle roller small end rather than a bush, so you can be a little bit less fussy with the amount of oil you put in. You don't need to put in 1-to-1 or anything ridiculous like that. I'm only joking, it's 5% for it, but you shouldn't really be running 5%. I'm sure you can get away with 2 or 3 if you've got a decent crank in there. But the point is it pleasurable to drive? And it's not vibrating, it's not making any horrible noises, it doesn't feel like it's getting hot or tight. Bear in mind it's had 0 running in. That 60 mile an hour run there was me just thrashing the nuts out of it. So I think Matt will be happy if it's picked up 10 miles an hour and climbs hills a bit better. That's all he needs.
Well, vast improvement to a standard GS150. You know, I find that it accelerates fantastic. It's a bit, hitting certain hills, you've got to be in the right gear. If you don't drop down a gear, it will struggle. But apart from that, it was going up to 55 straight away, 50, 55. So more than happy. Vast improvement, makes it an actual rallying machine now, whereas before you know, people wouldn't have trusted it. You know, you couldn't go on a motorway with the previous engine unless you were really sure of yourself, whereas with this kit I'd be more than happy to, you know, to do some proper touring with it. Vibration was no different to a standard GS150, I found. I was dubious. I will definitely leave it. It's great. It's you know, as long as it doesn't bog down in town, and we've driven through a few villages, it doesn't seem to bog down. Handles fine, so I would happily fit that to any GS150.